unfinished business. We have to go back to where it all started.
Was it emotional for you to come back as Nat, having already played her death scene in Endgame?
Let me go.
Yes, it was emotional. The whole process of making this was really emotional. I have such an affinity for Natasha. I think she's a good egg. She has a lot of integrity and I find her very touching. She's a survivor and I feel for her a lot. And so I love her. And it was emotional to be on this film. Not because it felt like it was the end of something, but I have a lot of compassion for her. Every day I was like, oh, Nat, she's a good one.
You've talked about how Natasha has been depicted over the many MCU movies that you've been in. How was it different to play her for a woman director?
From the very beginning, it was Kate Shortland. One of the wonderful things about working for Marvel and their track record is you have, a lot of incredible people raise their hand to work on these films. And, it really had many wonderful people to consider, but it was only Kate for me from the beginning. And it was very important to me that the person that directed this film had to have made a masterpiece and then some other good movies. One masterpiece, And I really think Lore, it's really it's a perfect film. It's so beautiful. And I could see that Kate, through her work, she was interested in the parts of Natasha that I was interested in. She would probably say something like, all her messy bits. She loves to examine all the flaws of the character or the perceived flaws of the character, their insecurities, was so interested to pull apart this woman who has been a part of an organization or some part of a greater whole for her entire life, not really by choice. And now suddenly she's in this floating in between place. And who is she? And can we explore this journey of self-discovery? I can't imagine anybody else that would see it quite that way other than Kate. And of course, part of it is that she's also a woman. That's also a part of it. It's one part of it. It's a big part of it, but it's also, she's an amazing artist in many ways. And she's an incredible female artist too. I think a female director, of course, saw all the things that I kind of would have seen, especially false moments, that Kate and I both called bullshit on, a woman would never do that. And then also just her, she has an incredible artistic vision as a person too. No.
What does a Black Widow movie mean for little girls that they get to see this kind of representation? Florence, do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think from the get-go, Kate really wanted all the young girls to be seen, stolen from all around the world. They were from different places and they were just as unfortunate about being caught as the next girl. So just the amount of diversity that you could then see within those scenes of the girls training was really wonderful to see. We have such a beautiful family sister story that really kind of hones in on grief, on pain, on abuse, on being a victim and living with being a victim. And I think the way that these women are continuing on with their lives and with dealing with it and with trying to help one another go through that is incredibly beautiful and impressive that Marvel tackled it in this way. And that's solely to do with obviously Kate and Scarlett.
Still fits. Family. Back together again.
You got fat.
And in terms of being someone young that watches this, that's a pretty cool film to learn from and look up to. But I don't know, we'll have to ask them when they see it.
This is such a groundbreaking movie. Has it been hard waiting for it to come out?
I think it's actually a perfect time for this film to come out. It would have been great for it to have come out, last May when we were already gaining momentum on the press machine and all that stuff, just because it's convenient, it's means that then there's the end, but it allowed us to work on it for a longer period of time, which is always fantastic because we already had a very, very short window. And then we're delivering in May. So that was crazy. But we were actually able to, do more additional work on it after March, which would not have been possible. I don't know. The film, I think, it's such a great opportunity for people to come back together in the cinema. I think it's such a warm film. It has such a very satisfying, it's exciting in all the ways that you want a Marvel film to be, but it also is very grounded and has so much heart, and it's about the family you choose. And I think having all been separated for such a long period of time and, really reevaluating the things in our life that are important, I just think it's a film that's reflective of all of that, coincidentally, but I'll take it. I think it's people will really appreciate it in a different way. I did watching it, recently. I was able to see it on a big screen and not like my weird, makeshift situation over the summer. But it was fun to see it with friends, and it felt everybody really loved the journey of these characters. They felt very close to them, and I think then felt close to one another as an audience. It's great. I think it's the right time.
Okay, you got a plan, or shall I just stay duck and cover?
My plan was to drive us away.
Well, your plan sucks. You're welcome.
I think the space has actually been really wonderful. I watched it a year ago and I watched it last night. And I have to say, having some space away from it and maybe not quite remembering the whole scene the way that I did was really wonderful. And it just continues to surprise me just how epic this film is. And I think the time has allowed us to appreciate the film that we're a part of. Well, certainly me, just to appreciate the look of it and appreciate the hard work and see that, all of that was done in such a short amount of time. And I think people are ready to go and watch a film that's going to make them jump on the edge of their sofa for an entire, hour and a half or however long it is. Like, I think people are ready for that. And I think to go back to the cinema if you can, and if, you feel safe to, it's such an epic film to watch with speakers and big explosions on a big screen. Like, this is the film that you want to go back for. So I think it helped. It's only made people more eager. I hope, anyway, made me eager.